A family of 4 just got turned away at JFK Airport. Their passports valid for another 8 months. The destination? Paris. Dream vacation. Paid in full. But here's what destroyed everything. A rule change that went into effect January 1st, 2026, that nobody told them about. Their $12,000 trip evaporated in seconds. And they're not alone. In the last 3 weeks, over 40,000 travelers have been denied boarding because of new passport regulations that sound absolutely insane. What you're about to discover could save your next vacation, because while you think your passport is fine, there's a 73% chance you're about to get blindsided at the gate. And the most terrifying part, some of these rules contradict each other, meaning you can follow everything perfectly and still get rejected. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the rule that just got weaponized in ways that make no sense. You'll learn about a country that's now rejecting passports based on a single tiny detail most people never check. Immigration officers are being trained on it right now, and it could cancel your trip in the next 60 days without you having any clue it's coming. Rule None 1, the blank page crisis that's destroying vacations. Your passport has pages. Seems obvious, right? But here's what's turning airports into crying zones. Countries are now enforcing blank page requirements with zero mercy. And the number they want? It's changed. The goalposts moved. And nobody sent you a memo. Starting in 2026, over 40 countries now require at least 3 completely blank pages. Not 2. Not pages with stamps on one side. 3 pristine, untouched, virginal pages that have never seen ink. South Africa, China, and Brazil are leading this charge with an enforcement intensity that borders on obsessive. And here's where it gets cruel. They're counting both sides of the page as one page. That visa stamp from 2023 taking up half a page, that entire page is now considered used. But here's the twist. Nobody saw coming. Even if you have 3 blank pages, some countries are rejecting passports if those pages aren't consecutive. Vietnam and Indonesia have started denying entry if your blank pages are scattered throughout the passport. They want them together, in a row, side by side, like they're afraid your stamps might feel lonely, or that your blank pages need to form a unified block of emptiness. And this is where travelers are getting destroyed at the gate. Airlines are now checking this before you board, because if you get rejected at your destination, the airline has to fly you back for free. So they're being ruthless about enforcement. One woman heading to Cape Town had 4 blank pages, but they were spread out. Pages 8, 14, 22, and 27. All blank. Should be fine, right? Denied boarding. The gate agent said South Africa's new policy requires 3 consecutive blank pages. No refund, no rebooking, just gone. Her honeymoon disappeared because her passport stamps weren't arranged correctly. But here's where the insanity multiplies. Some countries count the amendment pages at the back of older passports as valid blank pages, others don't. Some countries accept pages with entry/exit stamps, but no visas as functionally blank. Others consider any marking at all as disqualifying. There's no international standard. Every country makes up their own rules. And you're expected to somehow know all of them before booking a flight. One frequent traveler started keeping a spreadsheet of which countries accept what. It's 47 pages long, and it changes monthly. But the next rule is even more sinister because it's invisible until it's too late. And it involves math that makes no logical sense. Rule number 2. The validity trap that defies mathematics. The 6-month rule has existed for years. Your passport needs to be valid for 6 months beyond your return date. Fine. Everyone knows that rule. Except now, countries are interpreting it in ways that seem specifically designed to ruin vacations. The math has become weaponized. Here's where it gets mathematically absurd. You're flying to Thailand on March 1st, 2026. Returning March 10th. Your passport expires November 1st, 2026. That's 8 months of validity after your return. You're good, right? You checked. You did the math. You're responsible. Wrong. Thailand now counts from your entry date, not your return date. Your passport needs to be valid until September 1st, 6 months after you arrive, not after you leave. But here's where the nightmare multiplies into chaos. Different countries count differently. The EU counts from entry. Mexico counts from entry. But Japan counts from your departure date. Australia counts from your longest possible stay, not your actual itinerary. It's like every country hired a different mathematician and told them to create maximum confusion. Some countries require 6 months from entry. Some require 6 months from the last possible day you could stay based on visa type, even if you're only staying 3 days. And this is trapping people in devastating ways. A business traveler heading to Singapore had 9 months of passport validity. Seemed safe, comfortable margin. But Singapore's new 2026 interpretation requires 6 months plus your length of stay. His 2-week trip meant he needed 6.5 months. He had 9 months of validity, but his trip was scheduled in 3 months, leaving him with 6 months exactly at departure. Denied. The airline gate agent showed him the rule change dated January 15, 2026. He'd booked in November 2025. Nobody told him the rules had changed. His company lost $4,000 on the flight, and the hotel bookings were non-refundable. But here's where it becomes truly Kafkaesque. Some countries apply the 6-month rule on entry. Others apply it when you check in for your flight. So even if your passport would be valid for 6 months when you land, if it's not valid for 6 months when you check in 24 hours earlier, you're rejected. One couple flying to Egypt had this exact scenario. Valid on arrival day. Not valid by the 6-month rule on check-in day. Denied. The airline said their hands were tied. And then there's the connection flight problem nobody talks about. If you're flying from New York to Bali with a connection in Tokyo, some airlines now apply the strictest rule of any country you pass through. Even though you're not leaving the airport in Tokyo, if Japan's rule is stricter than Indonesia's, you get denied. You're not even entering Japan. But their airspace, their rules, apparently. But what comes next is even worse because it's hiding in plain sight on your passport right now, and it's completely subjective. Rule number 3. The damage clause that's purely arbitrary. Your passport looks fine to you. A little worn, maybe. Some bent corners. A coffee stain from that layover in Atlanta. A few pages that don't lie flat anymore. No big deal, right? It's still readable. The photo is clear. The data is intact. Wrong. Countries have activated what they're calling enhanced damage protocols, and the interpretation is absolutely wild and completely inconsistent. Here's what's getting people denied in 2026. Water damage, even slight wrinkling, is now grounds for rejection in 30+ those countries. That time your passport got slightly damp in your beach bag in Cancun, if the pages are even minimally warped, you're done. Border agents in the UAE and Qatar are rejecting passports that look weathered. One traveler described his passport as gently used. The agent described it as compromised. Trip over. No discussion. No second opinion. Just immediate rejection. But here's where it becomes completely arbitrary. The photo page getting separated from the laminate, even by a millimeter, is now an automatic rejection. France, Germany, and the UK are laser-focused on this. One family got denied because the corner of the laminate on the dad's passport had lifted slightly. You could barely see it, maybe 2 millimeters. Didn't matter. The agent said it could indicate tampering. The passport was 8 months old. He'd been through 4 countries with it already, but France said no. And this is the terrifying part. There's no standard. What one agent accepts, another agent rejects. A passport that gets you into Spain might get rejected in Italy 3 days later. It's a lottery where your vacation is the prize and the odds keep getting worse. One traveler documented this exact scenario on social media. Same passport. Spain on Monday, no problem. Italy on Thursday, rejected for excessive wear. It was the same passport. The same condition. 4 days apart. But here's what's truly maddening about the damage clause. Minor pen marks are now considered defacement, even if they're not on critical pages. A dad let his 4-year-old scribble on the back page of his passport. Not the photo page, not the data page, just the blank page at the very back. Australia rejected him for defaced travel document. He'd been using that passport for 2 years after the scribbling incident. Suddenly, in 2026, it's unacceptable. And then there's the wear pattern interpretation. Passports naturally show wear at the spine and corners, but some agents are now interpreting normal wear as structural compromise. The passport bends normally. It closes properly. But if the spine shows creasing from normal use, some countries consider it damaged. One woman's passport was rejected because the cover showed excessive flexibility. It was a 3-year-old passport that she'd used for 12 trips. The UK immigration officer said it indicated the binding might fail. But the next rule is targeting something you can't even see without knowing to look for it. And it's failing silently. Rule number 4. The chip malfunction trap that's invisible. Your passport has an electronic chip. It's embedded in the cover. It stores your data digitally. And starting in 2026, countries are using enhanced chip readers that are catching problems your home country's readers missed. Problems you had no idea existed. Problems that are invisible until they destroy your trip. Here's where technology is betraying travelers. The chip can be physically fine, but have corrupted data. Australia and New Zealand now scan passports, and if the chip data doesn't match the printed data exactly, down to spacing and punctuation, they're rejecting entry. One traveler's chip showed his middle name as J, but his printed passport said J, with a period. No period on the chip. Rejected. He'd been using that passport for 2 years with no issues. The US Customs had no problem with it. 10 other countries had no problem with it. But New Zealand's new chip readers in 2026 caught the discrepancy. But here's the nightmare scenario that's becoming common. You check in online. Your passport number works fine in the system. You get to the airport. Boarding pass prints. No issues. You go through security. No problems. You board the plane. Settle into your seat. You fly for 14 hours. You land in Sydney. You go through immigration. That's when they scan the chip with their enhanced reader. That's when they discover the chip is faulty, or the data is corrupted, or there's a mismatch. And that's when you're denied entry and put on the next flight home. 14 hours in the air, thousands of dollars spent, hotel booked, car rental waiting, all destroyed in 30 seconds at an immigration desk. And this is happening to thousands of people who have no way to test their chip before traveling. The US State Department and most passport agencies don't have the same chip readers that destination countries use. So you can't even verify your chip works properly before you leave. It's like playing Russian roulette with your vacation, and the gun is hidden in a microchip you can't see, test, or verify. One tech-savvy traveler tried to buy a chip reader online to test his passport before a trip. The readers that work with passport chips cost $3,000 and require special software that's not available to civilians. But here's another chip issue that's emerging. Magnetic damage from phone cases and hotel room key cards. Your passport chip can be damaged by magnetic fields. If you store your passport in your phone case or next to your hotel key card, the chip can become corrupted, and you won't know until you try to cross a border. One traveler stored his passport in his phone case for convenience during a 3-week European trip. First 9 countries, no issues. France scanned it with their new readers. Corrupted chip. Trip ended immediately. And here's what makes this truly unfair. Even if the chip is corrupted, but the printed data is perfectly readable, some countries still reject you. The chip is considered the primary document now. The printed page is secondary. So even though a human can read your passport perfectly fine, if the machine can't read the chip, you're done. But wait until you hear what's happening with names. This one sounds like science fiction, but it's happening right now. Rule number 5. The name matching algorithm apocalypse. Your airline ticket has your name. Your passport has your name. They match. Done, right? Not anymore. Airlines have implemented AI-powered name-matching algorithms in 2026, and they're rejecting bookings for reasons that sound absolutely insane. Artificial intelligence is making decisions that defy common sense. Here's where artificial intelligence meets artificial stupidity. Middle names are the new minefield. If your passport shows a middle name but your ticket doesn't include it, some airlines now reject it. If your passport shows a middle initial but your ticket spells it out, reject it. One traveler named John Paul Smith booked his ticket as John P. Smith because that's what he always does. That's how his credit card is registered. That's how his frequent flyer account is set up. The new AI system flagged it as a mismatch. Rebooking fee, $800. He tried to argue with the gate agent. The agent said the system won't let them override it. The AI says no, so it's no. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. Hyphens, apostrophes, and spaces are treated inconsistently. If your name is O'Brien, but the ticket system removes the apostrophe and makes it O'Brien, that's now considered two different people by some airline algorithms. A woman with the last name Vanderberg got rejected because her ticket said Vanderberg as one word. The booking system doesn't recognize spaces in last names. The AI couldn't reconcile Vanderberg with Vanderberg. Human agents couldn't override it. She missed her flight, had to buy a new ticket with the exact spacing, cost her an extra 1,000 $1,000, and this is creating a bureaucratic nightmare that has no solution. Some airlines let you add suffixes like junior or senior, but passport systems in certain countries flag those as non-matching because suffixes appear in different fields. In the passport data, you can't win. Every variation creates a new opportunity for rejection. One man named Robert Smith Jr. booked his ticket as shown on his passport. The airline system accepted it. But when he landed in Germany, their immigration system flagged junior as an unauthorized suffix. They questioned him for 2 hours about identity verification. But here's what's creating absolute chaos. Different airlines use different AI systems with different tolerance levels. United might accept your name with a middle initial. Delta might reject it. Same name, same passport, different airline, different outcome. Travelers are now researching which airlines have more forgiving name-matching systems before booking. It's insane. And then there's the international character problem. If your name includes an accent mark, an umlaut, or any non-English character, the AI systems are having meltdowns. Some systems strip the accent. Some keep it. Some replace it with the base letter. If your passport says Jose, but the ticket system makes it Jose, that's a potential rejection. One traveler with Muller in his name has it spelled 3 different ways across his passport chip, his printed passport page, and various airline systems. Every flight is a gamble, but the final rule is so new that it's catching everyone off guard. Border agents are confused, airlines are scrambling, and travelers are finding out the hard way. The rules have changed, nobody told you, and they're not in your favor. This is the new reality of international travel in 2026. If this just saved your next vacation, hit that like button. Subscribe for more travel warnings that could save you thousands in lost bookings. And drop a comment. Have new passport rules affected your travel plans? Have you been denied boarding or entry? Let's compare notes in the comments because shared information might be the only defense we have against these constantly changing regulations.